So now I can demonstrate the walk around if you like, or
I would be cool with that just for this time.
Sure.
Since it's been a little while, yeah,
sure,
that would be awesome.
Well, so what I do, I just start here with the controls.
Yeah.
Up, down, left, right. Make sure the controls are free.
Yeah.
Make sure the rudder pedals move. I also give this nose gear a good look, just to make sure it's because everything, you know, the nose wheel ties into this bracket and everything.
Yeah,
so it takes a bit of abuse, you know.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, while I'm here, the oil dipstick. The oil dipstick stores right here under.
Oh yeah,
that?
Yes, I do.
Grab it while we're here. Again, we're just kind of looking at the landing gear. Before you move, I've already moved the plane, but before you move the plane, you always want to look under the wheels for a puddle of oil, in case the hydraulics are leaking or something, you know?
Yeah.
Which it wasn't, but again, sort of the general condition, make sure that nothing has, you know, hit that and bent it or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're looking for holes in the wing, maybe, you know, damage of some sort. Who knows what's happened over the week while we were gone.
Yes.
Each of the hinges a little look-see. Anytime we're near the prop, double check that the mags are off. I can see the key is turned off up there.
Key is off all the way.
Key's off, that's right. So on this dipstick, there's a mark here.
Yeah.
Basically, if we have any oil showing on here, we've got a couple hours of flight, a couple hours of oil.
Right.
So, but I like to keep it up here, which is like 5 or 6 hours of oil.
Sure.
So as long as we'll be somewhere around that mark.
Oh yeah, I see the little tick on it there.
Yeah. Quarter-inch low, something like that, quarter-inch below the mark.
Okay.
So again, that's 6 hours of oil. We've only got 3 hours of fuel, so
right.
So we got lots of. Basically, what you want to do is like top to bottom.
Right.
So make sure the belt's reasonably tight. Make sure there should be 4 and 3 springs, 4 springs and 3 springs.
Okay. Yeah.
Make sure all the springs are present.
2, 3, 4.
Okay, just give things a shake. We're just kind of looking at the motor mounts here. They've got a bit of play to them.
Yeah.
That's all good. Now the primer is over here.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah, so what we want to do, it usually takes 1 or 1.5 pumps just to kind of get the primer primed.
Yes.
And then a couple of shots once it's primed. Then a couple of shots.
Yes. Okay.
You can see the fuel too. Like the fuel goes up this line here, so you can see the fuel.
Yeah. There's a burp there.
There. Take a look at the prop itself. Make sure there's no dings or anything in it. Right there, in fact. Not sure what that is. The plastic there.
That's a new one, is it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it before.
Mm.
And we come down the side here. Make sure the fin is solid.
Yeah, all the mounts.
That they're all. Take a look at this push rod, make sure it's straight, that it hasn't got caught on something.
Yeah.
Take a look under, make sure there's no holes in the bottom underneath. Make sure that the control horn, these 2 bolts hold the control horn on.
Yep.
So you make sure the control horn is solid. You make sure this push rod bolt is installed properly, the bolt's not loose.
Yep.
Same on this rudder control horn. Just give it a little wiggle, make sure it's pop riveted on, but just make sure it's solid.
Yep.
You can see that safety ring there.
Yeah.
You can tell that's there. Exact same thing on this side. Making sure that that safety pin is in there. Make sure the cotter pin is in there. Yes. Make sure the cotter pin is in there. Anytime where there's movement, rotational movement, then you need the cotter pin. So like those hinge pins, things rotate.
That makes
sense. You have to have the cotter pin. Whereas something like this is stationary.
Yeah.
So it can be, these are lock nuts. They got little fiber inserts in them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they're lock nuts, but these ones don't need to be cotter pinned because it's a stationary joint, not a rotational joint.
Yeah, it's not getting stressed and moved around. And
So again, make sure the push rod's good. Cotter pin there. Come around to this side of the engine. Now what you want to do, you want to, again, basically top to bottom.
Yeah.
But what you want to do, there's a number of systems. There's the oil system, the fuel system, the carburetor system, and the electrical system.
Right.
So what we want to do is we want to follow each of those systems from end to end.
Yeah.
So starting with the oil, this is the oil tank up here. So you make sure the oil line is connected. I can see that.
And safety.
The oil line, yeah, and it's got a safety tie on it. You can see the green safety tie there.
Yeah.
So then the oil line comes down through here to the oil filter. Again, it's safety tied. And then it comes around and eventually hooks onto the oil. This is the oil pump here.
Oh yeah.
Hooks onto the oil pump.
Yeah.
So that's the supply to the oil pump. I usually just give that arm just a couple little flicks to get, as you move the throttle, that gets pulled.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so as you move the throttle forward,
Yeah.
the throttle actually has 3 cables on it. 2 cables here, and then the 3rd cable goes up over here. So as you move the throttle, 3 things move.
Yeah.
Both carbs move, and this oil pump gets pulled.
Yeah.
It's injected into the carb here. So
Right.
So the pump has the big hose supplying it, and it has 2 small hoses.
Right.
And the 2 small hoses come through here. See them?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then one goes right there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So again, all it does is just squirts the oil in.
right at
as
the
the fuel
intake.
and air are going by.
Yeah.
It squirts the oil in, and hopefully it mixes.
Red,
So that's the oil system, end to end. Now we do the fuel system end to end. So I check the tank. It's full of gas. We have 9 gallons. We've got 3 hours of fuel. So kind of again come through here to this joint, and make sure there's 3 clips. 1, 2, 3. Up to the primer. Make sure they're both clipped. Follow the primer line up to this T. Everything's tied. One goes to the carb. It's safetied.
Yeah.
And the second one goes to the carb, and it's safetied.
Okay.
Then after this T, the other half of the line goes through the fuel filter.
Yep.
There's a clip there and a clip there. Comes up to the fuel pump. And again, clip, clip, clip. Make sure the pump is, just solid, whatever.
Yeah.
Clip, clip, clip. And then 2 fuel lines, 1 to each carb.
Yeah.
Again, it's tied, it's safety, and that one's safety.
Okay.
Then the fuel pump is actually driven off this hose here, this black hose.
That's the pulser.
Yeah, it goes to the crankcase here.
Yep.
And so I make sure that hose is connected at both ends.
Yep.
And it is.
Nicely clamped.
So that's the fuel system end to end. Next we do the carburetor system. And the big thing on these cars, what can happen is, they're intentionally loose, that's how they're designed.
Yeah.
But what can happen is,
Yeah.
you can end up with something like that.
You can end up with a higher
Yeah,
RPM
so
than you want.
so this throttle is already open a little
Fraction,
bit.
yeah.
Right. And so what you want to do, you want to check both of these that they're seated properly.
Yeah.
And equal with these 2 as well. There's up on front there's a throttle and there's a choke.
So that's the choke.
Yeah, these white ones are the choke.
Choke cable.
They can be out of position. They're just kind of sitting there.
I see.
So make sure that they're seated properly.
Okay.
And they are. So make sure they're seated properly. Just make sure the carbs are just solid.
Yeah, they are held on with boots.
Yeah, they're held on with these
and
rubber
safety
boots.
too, I see that.
Well, the air
or at
filter is
least
safety.
yeah, still.
So just make sure things are generally connected.
That comes off,
which
it's
it
not going
is.
to do your property.
Make sure that the air filter is solid on the carbs, which it is. And we've got a safety wire on the air filter, because if anything comes off the engine, it's going to go through the prop, right?
Yes.
Kind of moving again top to bottom. On the carbs, each carb has this little tube.
Okay.
It's got some holes in it, some vent holes.
Oh yeah.
Make sure the holes are clear. Make sure those little holes aren't plugged.
Yeah.
Again, coming down top to bottom. That's the carb system. We're now into the electrical system. So then the plugs. Make sure they're 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure that they're pushed on tight.
Yep.
Make sure that they're safetied as well.
Yep.
Okay, that's the spark plug electrical. We also have the starter electrical. So again, just kind of take a look at the starter here. Take a look at our wires. Make sure that things are connected. Wires are all on tight and everything.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Like I say, oil, fuel, carbs, and electrical. So, but again, sort of top to bottom is the trick.
Okay.
Carrying on. Again, just general inspection, looking for holes or anything like that. Oil cap is on. And just looking as best you can, make sure these nuts and bolts are, tight or whatever. Again, for the brakes, we're looking to make sure before you move the plane, I look, but make sure there's no oil, make sure you've got good air in the tire, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
These cables all These ones are, this one's a little loose, but because once the wheel rolls back, it tightens up.
Yeah, and with both of our weight in it as well.
That's right.
I'm sure it'll squat a little bit.
A little bit. So yeah, so just make sure those safety wires are good. Come around, give the nose wheel an inspection, take a look under, make sure there's no holes in the fabric. Make sure your most important instrument is free.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And
Pedos.
we're back where we started.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. What we'll be focusing on, Ryan, is just the basic flying skills, right?
Yeah.
We'll have you do most of the flying.
Okay.
You know, and again, remember, I have control, you have control.
And
if at any time I say I have control,
yes,
you immediately stop flying.
Yes.
Immediately, and repeat, you have control.
Knowing that when you say it, your hand's already on.
I'm ready. I am ready. Like if I'm taking control, I am ready to take control.
I understand.
Hopefully, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But
sure.
just you know.
Yeah.
So we have a plan.
Yeah.
But like I say, what we'll be focusing on, Ryan, are the basic flying skills, keeping the plane flying straight.
Straight.
And that's the big one, eh? And that's where this yaw string comes into play. Now, do you remember if the turn around so we're both facing the same direction?
Yeah.
Just as if we're sitting in the cockpit there.
Yeah.
Suppose we're flying along and the string is off to the right like that.
To the right. So I'm going to go stick the same direction as the string, opposite rudder input, and then watch for the string to react.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it right. Same aileron,
Same aileron.
or opposite rudder.